Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Patriot Nation TV. I'm your host, Tim Davis, your New Age patriot with a 1776 attitude. On tonight's episode, I will be discussing liberalism and Democrats, and are they purposely destroying our country? Is it a conspiracy? Is it a coincidence? Or as I like to call it, is it a planned economy or planned destruction? Now, with that being said, in order to understand the present and the future, one must understand and learn the past and where it all began. For me, I always start with what I describe as the faces of plunder, using presidents such as Woodrow Wilson, FDR, and LBJ as models. And that's what we're going to focus on tonight. And they gave us future presidents who I call globalist, New World Order type guys, totalitarianism, presidents such as Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and both Bushes, which I will discuss those presidents in future videos under Faces of Plunder. Now, as I have stated many times over the decades and past videos, America is at war. And our enemy happens to be, actually our biggest enemy happens to be liberalism. Yes, liberalism. Liberalism is a mental disorder. It's a disease. It's a cancer-like disease that is plaguing America and Americans morally, spiritually, and economically. Liberals get their power. Liberals get their ideas from this Marxist ideology that they're passing off as some kind of brilliant innovations and technologies, which is just ancient errors of the past. Basically, liberals and liberalism is a sick breed of people, in my opinion. So, moving forward, let's discuss what the Democrats and liberals are doing. They laid out a blueprint decades ago, 100 years ago. They laid out a blueprint, and we're seeing the fruition of it in 2020, moving forward into 2021, 2022. Now, the blueprint, which I'm going to discuss, like some people say it's conspiracy, they can say it's a coincidence, but me personally, I'm one man, one opinion. I'm going to say it's a planned economy or planned destruction. I'll leave it up to the viewers. The little information I'll give, you can research it yourself, figure it out, connect the dots, and come to your own conclusion. So for me, I always say it's a planned economy or planned destruction. Now, with that being said, the Democrats, these liberal progressives, have gave us a blueprint on what they're going to do. And it started in 1913. And their plan of action, the Liberal Democrats' plan of action for the United States of America since 1913, really 1933 under FDR, is this. It's a real simple blueprint. It is spend, spend, spend under the guise of safety and recovery. They are depleting the resources of the soundest government in the world. Their intentions are to bust the government, blame the capitalists for their failure, junk the Constitution, and declare a dictatorship. That's their plan. So I'll repeat it again. The Liberal Democrats' plan for America since 1913 is to spend, spend, spend under the guise of safety and recovery, to deplete the resources of the soundest government in the world, bust the government, blame the capitalists for the failure, junk the Constitution, and declare some kind of dictatorship, whether it's a world dictatorship, a small dictatorship in America, or in a banana republic, but that's what their goal is. So, with me saying that, let me just give you a little rundown. how it all began and where it all started. We're going to start with the faces of plunder. Like I said, I'll use Woodrow Wilson, LBJ, and FDR as examples. You can research it. I'm just going to make it short, sweet, and swift. The faces of plunder is Woodrow Wilson was the great granddaddy of them all, the first progressive, excuse me, who as president, he introduced and saw progressive legislative policies. He was the president from 1913 to 1921. During his presidency, he gave us and he introduced to us what was called the New Freedom Act. It's an agenda which gave us the Revenue Act of 1913, which is the 16th Amendment, the income tax. He also gave us in 1913 the Federal Reserve Act, which took the people's money, we the people's money, and put it in the hands into private bankers, which later on became the Federal Reserve. Woodrow Wilson is also responsible for the failed League of Nations, which became the United Nations after World War II. Woodrow Wilson was a segregationist. And Woodrow Wilson was also did all this stuff during World War I. And if you really think back and you dig deep into like the past, since the creation of the Federal Reserve, which I call taxation without representation, taxation is theft, especially income tax. Since he did that, we have been at war ever since. And that's why generations have passed and nobody challenged anything. So, moving forward, we go into 20 years later, after the creation of the Federal Reserve, 20 years later, 1933, FDR becomes a new president. And basically, when he became the new president, he made deals with the private bankers, which is the Federal Reserve Board. And he declared America bankrupt. Yes, he declared America bankrupt. And in doing so, his first order as president, he confiscated all the gold bullion. He made gold certificates. He made gold illegal for we the people to possess. And he did all this to pay back money he paid back money to the Federal Reserve, the interest that we borrowed as a government that we borrowed to enter World War I and to pay off past debts that the government accrued during that 20-year span. So he basically declared America bankrupt, and that's why he confiscated everybody's gold and started changing the gold standard, silver standard, and put us on a federal monetary note. Now, after FDR did that, he introduced to America, and he sold this idea, which I call a Ponzi scheme. And the Ponzi scheme, which is known as Social Security, the Social Security Act. I believe the Social Security Act enslaved every man, woman, and child of that era and future generations. They enslaved us, and they used us as collateral. So the Federal Reserve can print money, and we're collateral. So that's how the government can print money and take money from the Federal Reserve to create all these future programs, and so on and so on. Now, FDR during his New Deal, which I call a failed New Deal, he bailed out bankers, he bailed out big business, business that should have went bankrupt. And it's all relevant to what's going on to future videos and what's going on with today and stuff like that. Then we can move forward another 30 years. We'll go to LBJ. LBJ, he came up with the idea called the Great Society. The Great Society, before I get to the Great Society, I also like to mention FDR was also a segregationist. So two presidents, the great granddaddy of Faces of Plunder, Woodrow Wilson, who was a segregationist and a Democrat, introduced FDR, who was a segregationist and a Democrat, and that gave us LBJ and LBJ's Great Society. In LBJ's Great Society, his war on poverty, stuff like that, he basically expanded on FDR's welfare state. He basically gave us the modern day welfare state. And contrary to popular belief, Social Security, Medicaid, like I said, it's all under the guise of safety, a safety net. Contrary to popular belief, it's plundering us. It's legally plundering us. There's a term, legal plunder and plunder. Frederick Bastiat wrote essays on it in the 1850s. The Law, you can look that up, The Law by Frederick Bastiat. And so they created a welfare state, which later on became where we are today. I'll just give a quick one. We'll use Obama. As an example. He gave us the stimulus bill. With the stimulus bill, he bailed out banks. He bailed out insurance companies. He bailed out the automobile industry, the airlines, et cetera, et cetera. Just like FDR did. He bailed out the banks. He bailed out farmers, and they started subsidizing all these companies with taxpayers' money. And so basically, if you take take those three presidents, the faces of plunder, and you take their policies, if you really look into their policies, just those three presidents alone, they probably we have a $30 trillion debt right now, and they're probably responsible for 3/4 of that debt in their policies, and it's not going to end too well. And so, for giggles, I threw in the Obama administration with his bailouts, and if you just take those four presidents and you put them together, we have the mess what we have. And if we eliminated 85 to 90% of their policies, America would be in a lot better shape, spiritually, morally, and economically. And we would definitely be in a lot better shape because they legally plundered us taxpayers. And the relevance and why the purpose of me saying this is Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, which is a Republican, or I call him a rhino. He's a liberal in disguise, a rhino, Republican in name only. This past week, they passed a $900 billion stimulus check, COVID relief, Chinese virus, whatever you want to call it, stimulus bill, where they're offering $600 to us U.S. citizens, us taxpayers who've been punished for the coronavirus, China virus, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. Call it whatever you want. I'll call it the Chinese virus. And they're passing it off. $900 billion. If you do the basic math, I'm doing it off the top of my head. 330 million people at $600. That's roughly $150 billion. So that leaves like $700 billion left for pork. We're funding foreign governments. We're not $700 billion of our money, our tax dollars that we pay, that they steal from us. They literally steal this money from us, and they're giving to foreign governments. We're giving Pakistan X amount of millions of dollars, even $1 billion for gender studies, gender reassignment. We're giving Japan money for studies of carp fish, and so on and so on and so on. And it's really not good. And they're just giving us basically breadcrumbs of $600. And in the beginning of this pandemic, medical tyranny, this Chinese virus, they gave us a stimulus bill where every person received $1,200 in probably March, April of 2020. They gave us all $1,200. I didn't receive one. I didn't qualify for one. Just like I'm not going to qualify for the $600 one. But that's here or there. That's irrelevant. And so basically, it's just legal plunder. They're stealing our tax dollars. They're it's fraud, plunder, and bribery. And like I said, you can look up Frederick Bassier. He'll give you the description of plunder and legal plunder, how to identify it, and how it works, and how it leads to socialism, fascism, Marxism, communism, whatever way you want it, whatever word you want to use, or whatever angle you want to take at it. Like me personally, I'm one man, one opinion. I'm not here to tell you what to think, how to think. I'm just here to make you think and question everything. And with that being said, me personally, I look at fascism, communism, socialism, liberalism, protectivism, whatever isms you want to throw into it. I look at them as they're all part of this. They all spring its roots from the same plant, just different stages of growth. You know, from when you germinate the seed, you plant it in the dirt, and it grows, and one stalk, then branches, then this and that. And the ultimate goal of that is a dictatorship, a totalitarianism, oligarch government. And it's really not good. It's un-American. It's illegally plundering us under many, many, many guises. And like I said earlier in the broadcast, you know, they're doing under safety and recovery. Now today they're doing the same thing, safety and recovery, but now they're using medical and public health as an issue. And it's just really, really bad what's going on. And we as patriots in 2020 going to 2021, we got to smarten up. We got to realize both parties, Republicans and Democrats alike, as we can tell, are in cahoots with each other. There's no longer a two-party system. They are an oligarch. We have a corrupt system. Everything's corrupt from the highest courts of the land to the highest law enforcement, FBI, CIA, ATF, to the lowest, to your local, to your state cops, law enforcement, to your local and state legislators, to your local and state, mayors. And what they did was they created a system of plunder where you either partake in the plunder or you become a victim of the plunder. And they came up with these laws and these policies to divide and conquer us. And they're enslaving us, and off the top of my head, if memory serves me right, I believe it was one of the founding fathers, John Adams, once said, to enslave and conquer a nation, there's only two ways to enslave and conquer a nation. That is through the sword and debt. So modern age, you're talking 1760, 1770, a sword. Now today we have rifles and anti-aircrafts and missiles and bombs. So basically, to enslave and conquer a nation and enslave people is through the sword or the gun or the rifle and debt. So today in 2020, we are now slaves. We're modern day slaves, free roaming slaves to a system that is destroying the middle class, destroying the working people, all under the guise of safety, security, recovery, and it's an economic thing. They like I said, when Woodrow Wilson came up with the Federal Reserve, and FDR came about with his New Deal, they had to adapt a system. They needed a mathematical equation, which is, his name was John Maynard Keynes, Keynesian economics. We basically just kick the can down the road, and that's why you always have a boom, bust, recovery. It's a cycle every 10 to 12 years. And if you look from 1933 to present day, it's a boom, bust, recovery. 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 Over and over and over, and so on and so on. And so moving forward, we really got to wake up as a nation. We really got to wake up as a people. We have to get back to our founding principles, our founding beliefs. Basically, all we got to do is just dust off the Constitution and read it and enact the laws that are put in place. Not these arbitrary laws, not these feel-good laws, not these revenue generating laws. That's what's going on. That's what basically a legal plunder is. And that's why I said they stopped teaching it in universities and high school. I read the law by Frederick Bastiat in 1984. I was like 13, 14 years old. And they stopped teaching this. And everybody, if that's watching this video, if you get your hands on it, you can probably download it on Google, YouTube, whatever. It's called The Law by Frederick Bastiat. He wrote it in like 1848, 1850, during the French Revolution. And it basically breaks down plunder and legal plunder. And what we're living to, Marxism, he breaks it down to Marxism. And what we're living today, he wrote, and it's so relevant, just like our Constitution and our Bill of Rights are more relevant today than what they were in 1791, 1850, 1848. It's just amazing how our academia, our universities, our schools, they dumbed us down. Deliberately, they dumbed us down. And they're withholding information from us. Like me personally, one man, one opinion. I'm not here to tell you how to think, what to think. I'm just here to, give you an idea what avenues to take. Me personally, I don't believe anything written past the 1940s is accurate. It's all revised history. Definitions change. Names changes. But the ideologies never change. This evil ideology of liberalism has been around from the beginning of time, from the pharaohs of Egypt to the Greeks, the Solon and the Athenians, to the Roman Empire, to Adolf Hitler, to Stalin. It's just the same evil ideology, and the only thing that changes is names and faces, languages, and sometimes nations. And unfortunately, here we are in 2020, and this evil's upon us Americans. It infiltrated our government, and it's really hurting us really, really bad. So, just to recap a little bit what I said, the liberals, these Democrats, have planning this for decades. It's been going on for about 100 years. And their plan of action, like I'll repeat it, I don't want to be redundant, but I got to repeat it so it sticks. Their plan of action for the United States of America since 1913 to the 30s to the 60s is to spend under the guise of safety and recovery. They are depleting our resources. They are depleting the resources of the soundest government in the world. They're trying to bust our government, which they're doing successfully. $30 trillion deficit now. We're in debt $30 trillion. 1912, we only had a $2 million, not billion, $2 million debt in 1912. By the end of Woodrow Wilson's presidency, 1921, we had a $26 billion debt. By the FDR, when he became president in 1933, our debt was like $27 billion. By the end of his presidency, with his New Deal, World War II, yada, 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 we had almost $700 billion debt. You moved the LBJ, went from about $6 to $7 billion debt. You can research this. This is all, give or take $1 billion here or $1 billion there. So it's all accurate numbers. Going to LBJ, by the time he left office, we were close to $1 trillion. Then we moved into Nixon and Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the first president that gave us we broke the $1 trillion deficit debt, and he gets the blame for it. But it's the past presidents that legally plundered us and it's taking all our resources. So, like I said, we'll save those issues and topics for future broadcasts of Faces of Plunder. I just gave a quick little rundown. I'll probably use 2 presidents per episode. I'll do like 3 or 4 episodes, and I'll have a live stream with it. The first 2 I'll use Woodrow Wilson and FDR, Faces of Plunder. Then I'll go to LBJ with Richard Nixon. And then we'll move forward to the both Bushes with Obama and Clinton. Maybe I'll put the 4 of them together. We'll all just connect the dots, and it all makes sense as we move forward going on in future broadcasts and future videos. So, like I said, it's really disturbing. They want to give us breadcrumbs. They're talking about a $600 stimulus check for all of us, and they're spending couple $100 million for gender studies in Pakistan, studying carp fish in Japan, and if anybody can come up with any other country, was there 194 civilized countries in the UN Charter? Out of 194 countries, or whatever it is they say, 194, 188 countries, can anybody name a country other than America that tax their people to send money to America? If anybody can come up with a country that actually tax their people to give America money, please feel free to make a comment, leave a suggestion, and I'll research it. But as of now, it just seems like America, we're just getting taxed to death. And we're paying for every other country. We're now, not only are we policing the world with our military, we're financing the world, and it's just not a good thing. It's not a good look for us as we dive further and further into debt, and middle class is being squeezed. The top 1% is just getting richer and richer and richer, and so on and so on. So basically, it's just a little short video I want to put together, because I'm going to use this as a stepping stone for future videos. Planned economy, planned destruction. I'll dive into it with more details, such as FDR, Woodrow Wilson, LBJ. Planned economy, planned destruction, up to modern day, what's going on with Obama, Bush, how they hoodwinked. Donald Trump, they hoodwinked Donald Trump the same way they did Herbert Hoover, right before the election that FDR won. It's all relevant. I'll connect all the dots, and eventually I'll have a live podcast, where we can discuss, I'll put a bunch of videos together. Everybody connect the dots, do your little research, have questions, pose the questions, suggestions, put them in the box. Then when we go live with the audience, we'll be able to answer these questions and dive into it deeper. So, like I said, this is just a little quick little video to what's going on and how I see things are going, explaining the buffoonery of our liberal friends, as Ronald Reagan would say. Our liberal friends, it's not that they're ignorant, it's that they know so much that isn't so. And it's a true statement. They just know so much that isn't so. And so we'll leave it at that. And I look forward to future videos, future broadcasts, live broadcasts. It's just a little video that I want to do to bring everybody up to date, up to speed, to where I plan on bringing this show. Obviously, we're going to go into taxes, and I believe taxation's theft. It's going to be just a broad variety of shows. We're all going to connect the dots going to 2021, so we can end this evil, this pure legal plunder. It's called legal plunder, or plunder, whichever you want to do. And that's the way it's going to go. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little broadcast. And I just put it together off the top of my head real quick, just to move forward, because I like to keep people going and keep my YouTube going and my Facebook going. And like I said, if you like what's going on, you like the presentation, you like how it's moving forward, we're going to dive into many avenues, whether you want to call conspiracy theories, coincidences. The bottom line is, I'm going to connect the dots for everybody. I'm going to put the evidence, I'm going to put the the votes that the House of Representatives put together, all the policies, we're going to put them all together, and we can all come to our conclusion and say it's a conspiracy, it's a coincidence, or it's a planned economy or planned destruction. It's up to you, patriots. So in ending, if you, like I said, if you appreciate, if you like the show and you like the way it's going, it's only going to get better from here out. Please hit subscribe and like. It's keeping me motivated. I see I get a lot of subscribers lately, the last few weeks. A lot of viewership. It keeps me going, keeps me motivated, and I'm going to get better at this. And hopefully together, we'll put our minds together. And moving forward, another episode I'm going to do is it's called the worst generation. It's the baby boom generation. You got the greatest generation, which is the World War II generation, who produced the baby boom generation, which I consider the worst generation. But that's for another podcast. That's for another video. Like I said, out of the show, we're going to come out with a lot of videos, a lot of informative videos for everybody to look forward to. So, like I said, please hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll get this going. I just wanted to put something out there. It's, just to put something out so everybody have something to think about for a little bit. And so in ending, like I always say, I'm just one man, one opinion. I'm Tim Davis, your host of Patriot Nation TV. I'm a New Age patriot with a 1776 attitude. And I look forward to the next video. I look forward to suggestions and comments. And together, we're gonna right this ship. We're gonna right this sinking ship that was created, that was planned before our time, and we're gonna right it. We got to save America. So in ending, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless our soldiers, our law enforcement, whether you agree with them or not. That's another topic. So in ending, God bless you, God bless America. Good night. I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.